G'day, Justin Hawk from Right Source, talking not-for-profit and going through a series of videos to help those looking to set up a not-for-profit understand and get a bit of an insight on what it means and start thinking about how you're going to make your not-for-profit successful. So this video, we're going to talk about is generating cash for your not-for-profit. Now this is obviously incredibly important because you need funds coming into your not-for-profit to be able to do what you do. So normally when you think about generating cash, it's ultimately thinking about, well, who are we helping and who's our customer? Now, when you start thinking up an initial business case, and especially not-for-profit, the focus is about, well, we're going to help these people. If it was just a normal business, it's like, well, these people need a product or a service, or there's something that they're missing, there's a need they're missing, and we're going to fill that need. That's what we're going to sell. That's what we're selling. If it was a profit-focused organization, that's really as far as you need to go. Identify the need, the problem, have a product or service that will fix that problem, and go and sell. And then that will eventually create money and off you go. In the not-for-profit space, it's not quite that simple, and we need to dig a little bit deeper. Now, why is that? Well, when you look at the person with the need in the not-for-profit space, the beneficiary of what you're doing, quite often they're not the one who's paying for it. So the beneficiary is the one that you're providing the services to. You know, the person with the disability, or the person who needs a food parcel, or needs a bed for the night, or needs some counseling. They're the beneficiary, they're the one you're helping. They're not necessarily who's paying. And as a charity, if you're setting up a charity, you're not expecting them to pay because that's the point. You're a charity, you're doing this stuff for free. But ultimately you need cash. So the person that is paying, or where you get that cash, is from your customer. So, and this is what's different about the not-for-profit space, is that your beneficiary and your customer are different. In the profit-focused space, the customer and beneficiary are the same. In the not-for-profit, they're different. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means that you need to not only understand who you're helping, but you need to understand who you're selling to. And that's what I wanted to go through in a little bit more detail, is understand, well, in the not-for-profit space, who are your customers and what are you selling? So let's start. The most obvious customer, though potentially not until you've watched this video, is government. So a lot of funding, probably at least half of the funding for not-for-profit space, comes from the government. So they are the ones that are paying for this. So they're the ones that are your customer. So if you're in an NDIS or aged care, the government pays for all that. They're your customer. You're fixing their problem. They have, in aged care, for example, they have an aging population that they have said that they're going to take care of, but the government doesn't have the facilities to do that. So they've outsourced it to others. And so, for example, not-for-profits, where they do aged care facilities, the government pays for those. So you're providing services to the government. They are your customer. Now, what's interesting here is when you start looking at setting up a not-for-profit and you've identified a need, first, it's a reflex action most people have. It's like, well, the government should be fixing that. Now, the government potentially should be, but if the government doesn't see it as a problem, or if they don't see it as their problem, then they're not going to fix it. They're not going to pay for it. They're not interested in buying. They don't have a problem they need you to solve. Even if you think it's a problem, if they don't see it as a problem, and it's the same when you're selling to anybody. If they don't think they need your product, they're not going to buy it. It's the same with the government. Now, this helps change your conversation when you talk to government, whether it's state or federal, at any level. If you go in there saying, we need money to do this, it's a hard sell. If you go in talking to the government representatives going, we want to understand the problem of aged care. We want to understand this problem. What do you see as your problem and how can we help? You're much more likely to, one, identify what their problem is and see if there is a solution that you can provide that they are willing to pay for. That's selling, and that will get you cash into your not-for-profit. That's government. The next customer that people probably don't see as a customer are people, donations. People making a donation to a not-for-profit, they are a customer of the not-for-profit. They're not buying anything. They're not the beneficiary, absolutely not, but they're a customer. Now, how are they a customer? You and I, like when we get involved in an organization, a sporting club, enterprise, anything, we like to be part of something. It's just part of what makes us human. We want to be part of something. When you start telling your story about what your not-for-profit's doing, the impact you're making, people gravitate to that if it's important to them, and they want to be part of helping and being part of that impact. So what people are wanting is to be part of the story. That's what they're buying. That's what they're investing in. That's what they're buying. They're buying the story. They want to hear more. They want you to be successful. They want to hear what impact you're making, what impact you're continuing to make. So when you're looking for donations and building that, you really want to be focusing on giving your story so people can be part of it. That is how you get donations. That is how you build a donations base and a customer base of people providing donations to your not-for-profit. It's about the story. The next cohort are corporates. Now, they are also interested in the story, but not to the same emotional extent as a person. Corporates are more interested in, and obviously they're running a business, what's in it for them. So most often what they're looking for is brand association. So they want to be associated with a brand that makes their brand look good too. So when you're looking at engaging with corporates, quite often, yes, it's your story and your impact, that is important, but it's also equally important your brand, which obviously ties into your story. So when you're looking at wanting to build up a corporate interest in your organization, your social media, your story that you've got out there for your donations is important, but being aware of how that affects your brand and the brand that you're creating is important because that'll help corporates. The other aspect of corporates that can get them into providing a cash flow for your not-for-profit is where you solve a problem for them. Same sort of thing. And usually in corporate, it's things like how you might deal with waste products that they've got, or they've got extra capacity that they're not able to use. How can you save them money or create a cash flow for them? If you can do that, they will be more than willing to pay you to have that benefit. But again, that's about understanding their problem and how you can help them, not going to them saying you need money. Next on the cohort list, and there's a lot of places you can actually go for and different strategies, lots of different customers, is philanthropic interests or large high net worth individuals that have set up a fund for a specific purpose. Now, this is probably the most black and white of all the customers you have, because these sort of funds that have been set up have a very particular purpose. They're set up to do very specific things. If your purpose of your not-for-profit law aligns with that, there's a good chance you can get funding. If it doesn't, you won't. It's that simple. But it's looking for what the purpose of those organizations are and seeing if that fits in with your purpose. So philanthropic and high net worth can absolutely be a customer, but they've got a very clear articulation of what their problem is they're trying to solve, and you need to be able to help solve that problem. Now, the last place that you can generate income from when setting a not-for-profit is you can sell your services. That seems a bit odd and a bit obvious at the same time. So for example, if you're providing allied health services or physio or OT services to NDIS or people with a disability, absolutely. So in that respect, the government's your customer. But those services that you're providing could equally be provided to people who can pay for the services. There's no reason why you can't do that as well. And in fact, that can help broaden your base, create some nice synergies for your organization, as long as you're clear on the customer. So again, if you're selling your services, who are you selling them to? And is there a service they're wanting that you're providing? So that is quite a list of customers that you can look at. But again, the takeaway from this video, if you're looking to set up a not-for-profit, is that in the not-for-profit space, your beneficiary and your customer are two different people. And if you can make sure you focus and you're aware of that, your beneficiary tends to be where all your costs are. That's what you're delivering your services to. Customer, that's where your income's coming from. And they're different people and they have a different need. I hope you found that interesting. It's a bit of a deep conversation with that one. As I said, we're doing a lot of videos on helping people set up not-for-profits, so feel free to check out other videos on YouTube. Otherwise, thank you for your time. It's Justin Hogg from RightSource.